you just concentrate and take everything that we do here serious. I know you have done pieces of account, and yes, you want to,
Oh, oh, good evening, sir.
yeah, evening. You want to ask question or something?
Yes, I want to
Okay.
ask question. My foundation of accounting, my results have not been released yet. Oh.
That issue. It's not only
Mm,
you. It's not only you. We have some people. I think the management student too. So I drew their attention, and they said they don't know why it's happening in the system. When you open, I think there's nothing there, right? So even two people already reported and have submitted their details to the assessment unit, and they have realized that yes, it's no showing. But from my end here, everybody I submitted score for everybody. There was no IC, no, so it will come. It's good. So how many people? Is it everybody or some people have seen their results?
I have received mine.
Okay. So there are some of you, your result has not come. It is not from my end here. I've submitted everything to them. So what it means is that I'll continue to remind them. It's not only you. There are other people too. So it will come, okay?
okay, sir. Thank you. Okay, thank you, sir.
Everybody have a score here. There's nobody having ice. So don't get worried. Nobody
Okay.
failed.
Okay.
Everybody passed. So I can assure you that it will reflect. Okay.
No, the pass. We are talking about the correct one.
So, which one is the bad pass and which one is the correct one? Huh?
From C minus going, you know. They are not correct pass. I don't like those ones at all.
It shall be well.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah.
It's fine, don't worry. Okay. So now we made this arrangement. Officially, we were supposed to meet on Sundays, but in fact, I'm very engaged, busy. Say university work. Sometimes it takes us outside, and it becomes difficult for us to meet. So, like we were doing for the foundations of accounting, I think we can use that same arrangement where we will meet in the evening like this, 7 to 9, 7 to. So in that case, if we were to meet Saturday or Sunday, we were to do 4 hours straight. Now it's 4 hours, 7 to I think 11 or so. But we can do 2 days. So like we meet today, Wednesday, 7 to 9. Then maybe Friday, 7 to 9. I think would that be okay? Or maybe any other day apart from the Wednesday. So let's talk about that so that when we finish, we know that this becomes our regular meetings. We are meeting for how many? Is it 4 weeks? We are doing 4 weeks, or?
Yes, please. 4 weeks.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so this is our first week. So I know that this is what we're supposed to do on Sunday. So first week. So we do today. And what other day do you think will be convenient for you? Let's discuss. Which other day?
Yeah, last time I suggested the Friday. That Friday is not bad. Wednesday and Friday. So the others should also talk. Maybe they have some other days that.
So we wanted to use Wednesday and Friday. So Wednesday 7 to 9, then Friday to 7 to 9. Then that will be up for the week. If you prefer a Saturday, we're doing Saturday. It's not Sunday, right? If we can do Sunday to maybe unless after 2 weeks time, because now we are doing exams and I'm part of it, and 2 weeks to the end of the thing, and it's code exams regular. So every weekend, as of the Friday, I'll travel, and the Saturday, Sunday, I'll be engaged. At that time, I can't teach. But within the weekdays, I'll be okay. So let's look at it well. If we want Sundays, then after 2 weeks, when we do these 2 weeks weekdays, after 2 weeks, I can revert to the Sunday. That one, I know that it will be done and we can do Sunday. But if you are okay with the evening too, then we can maintain our Wednesday, Friday, and still we can get it. So let's do it today. I know by the end of the distance, you will know which day are we doing again. Okay. So this is taxation. Okay. Unless maybe if someone has something to bring to my attention before I start officially. If there's something you want to bring my attention, it can be. If there's nothing, then I'm starting. Okay. So let's look at what we are going to do in this. I hope everybody can hear me clear.
Yes, sir.
Yes, please.
Okay. So by the way of course or outline, this is what we intend to do. We are going to cover these topics. If we have time, I know we can cover most of them within 4 weeks. Somebody on this microphone is on giving a feedback. I don't know, so as if it's raining. Okay, it's my okay. So you look at introduction to general principles of taxation. So you look at the general principles of taxation. So here you look at the meaning of taxation, you look at historical perspectives and the rest, and features of income tax. Then we look at tax administration in Ghana. So these are topics that we are going to cover. Tax administration in Ghana. Then from there we look at income that is subject to tax in Ghana and the income tax exemption. So we look at employment income, business income. We look at investment income and the rest. Then year of assessment and the base fee is something that we just talk about it. It's not anything serious. But we will look at the assessment of employment income into details, where we look at how to compute the travel income of a taxpayer, so that you know why or how your taxes are calculated. Because when you look at your gross pay and the net pay, you see that there are some taxes, and they look at tax reliefs. We look at double taxation, how to calculate double taxation and the rest. Then you also look at capital allowance. So I will select certain. We cannot finish almost everything because this one we need more than 4 weeks to finish almost everything. But see, capital allowance is there, assessment of business income, value added tax. So, but I know that within 4 weeks we cannot go by. If we are going by week, this is we need about 8 weeks or maybe more than 5 weeks to finish everything. But I know what you need at this level. So I'll be selective and teach those things that I think will help you at this level. So when you finish and you come and do masters, and we are doing the advanced taxation, there we will add more and the other issues that we are going to add there. So that's outline. Okay, since you don't have any question again, let's quickly start from our unit 1 or the first unit. Let's look at history of taxation. Let me open the slides. Okay. How my slide is showing now? You can see my slide.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's look at history of taxation. History. Now, when you talk of tax, okay, let me ask you first. When you talk of tax, what comes to your mind? You can't tell me that you have not heard something about tax. Well, it is with you. When you talk about the word taxation or tax, what is tax? Or how do you understand tax in your own understanding, opinion? What do you understand by tax? Anybody at all come? Yes?
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
The money workers are supposed to pay to the government.
The money workers are supposed to pay to government. Okay. Yes, that's good. Any other tax? When you talk about tax, what is it? Money. What's it?
Okay. Okay.
I'm not saying.
In my opinion, I think tax is a way that the government use. Tax is a revenue to government. It's a revenue to the government.
Okay. All right. So let's look at. So when you talk of meaning of, or when you talk of tax, the word tax. A tax can be defined as a compulsory charge imposed by government on either income, expenditure, or capital assets in order to raise revenue for which the taxpayer receive nothing specific in return. So all that you were saying was good. I see in most when I talk about a tax, like you were saying, you are a worker, you work. The amount that you are supposed to pay, the salary you are supposed to pay you, we deduct something from it to the government. And it's compulsory. You can't say that you will not pay. It's not voluntary. That in an economy, some people decide to pay taxes, others say we will not. No, it's a compulsory charge. It's imposed by government on citizens, either on their income or their expenditure or whatever. It is that is tax. So when you talk of a tax, it's a fixed charge, a compulsory charge that the taxpayer pay to government so that the government can get enough revenue to run the country. But that compulsory charge is the taxpayer pay it without receiving nothing specific in return. We know that when you spend money or when you take money to give to somebody or pay for something, sometimes you buy items, you get something in return. Once money is going out, there should be inflow to the. But for tax, you pay money to government, all right, but you receive nothing specific in return as at the time you pay it. The benefit is inherent. It's something that we will enjoy, but not like going to buy something and you get immediate action or a return. That is tax. So it's a compulsory charge which is imposed on government, imposed by government. So today we are looking at historical perspective. Why did the tax even come to exist? That's what we want to look at. So that we understand that tax was not just there as it is now with us. Something happened, and by the end of the presentation, you understand the reason why tax is with us. Then we have to take something as tax. It started from somewhere, and look at it and look at some tax in Ghana. Okay. Yes. Please hold on. I'm teaching. Okay, so let's continue. Sorry for that. Now, taxation is the act. So when you see a tax is the amount that people pay, but taxation is the process. It's a process of taxing. So taxation is an act, is a process of by which the government determine how much tax a person should pay on his or her income. So we see we have tax and we have taxation. When I say taxation practice, so we are going to look at some issues in or concerning tax. So that is so when you look at you are asked to distinguish between tax and taxation. The tax is the amount that is imposed by the government. So if you have income of 3,000, let's say you are paying maybe 1,005 of it, or maybe 200 or 300 will be paid as income tax. So that 200 or 300 is the tax that you are paying out of the 3,000. But the process by which we will determine the percentage and this one to come for us to come to your point that yes, you have to pay 2,200 on the 3,000 is the taxation. I hope you are okay with that, the distinction.
Yes, sir.
Now let's look at some historical perspective. So today we will not do any calculation. Taxation is more about calculation, but for the first 2 units, you may not see any calculation. You just put the whole cost into perspective so that you understand. But the theories and the things you do will inform the calculation, so you have to follow the history. Now, let's look at history of taxation. Before we come to history of taxation in Ghana, when we talk of tax, the taxation, it started not with us, it dated back to the Roman Empire. Taxation, the word, the taxation, it has been with us for a very long time. During the Roman Empire, Roman times, that is originally when taxation started. But this is how it started. It did not start like how we see today, your income, you are paying it. No. In the olden days, during the Roman Empire, and let me tell you, all this I'm telling you, you are learning history, but I am telling you, fact, I was there, not history. So you are learning history, but during the Roman Empire, when the British, no, not the British, we come to the British, but during the Roman Empire, you see, people were fighting. There was a lot of wars. So the Roman Empire became so popular. You see, they were fighting. When you are there, then maybe a town is there, then another town, the stronger one, if you have big enemy, you come and fight with them, kill their leaders, then you take all of them as your slaves. When you take their land, their food, crops, plantation, everything belonged to you. So that was just by the order of the day. So during the Roman Empire, people were that fighting, conquering territories and other things. So the more powerful you become is how much lands and other people that you were able to capture. So you got to your point. The Roman Empire it became so big that they had conquered a lot of people who are living under their territory. So when it got to a point that their lands were very large and they were so powerful, Roman Empire, they began to think that if they don't take care and resource their army, because the army was protecting the whole colony or territories where the Roman Empire has conquered. So just imagine you have maybe Roman Empire conquering a land like the whole of Ghana. It's we have conquered almost everybody. So now everybody there belongs to them. So that they are very powerful. Then came the point that they have to protect these lands. Else, if you don't protect them, people will come, other group will come and fight and take your people as their slaves. So always they will have armies that were going around patrolling and this. So it got to a point that they needed to resource the army. They need food for the army to eat so that they can be strong. Because of the fighting, they needed to resource the army, and there was no money. It was no money. So they brought an idea that, okay, why don't we tell all the slaves, people that we have conquered who are living on our land, and for us to give protection to them, because if we don't give protection to them, people will come and fight. When they fight, they kill a lot of people, women, children, they kill them. And by the time the war becomes over, a lot of people have died. So sometimes it's better that you are being protected, you are just a slave, know that you are farming for them and doing everything for them. But so the Roman Empire, they brought a law that all people who are living on their territory every month or at a certain time, they were supposed to bring part of their foodstuffs, their crops, whatever you are growing, you bring some to the empire so that they can use it to feed the army, so that the army becomes strong for them to continue to protect the people. So that is how it started, and say, oh, okay, that's a good idea. So the people started buying into that. Okay, if we are to bring some foodstuffs, some items to the palace, or maybe so that they will give it to the army, and the army will always, there will be enough food always for the army to eat so that they can protect. I think so. People started giving. So at any point in time, they said the Roman Empire army became strong. Always they were strong, and that's how the Roman Empire became so strong. In that era, when we talk about Roman Empire, they were dominating because they had a lot of land, strong army, and the people were contributing, supporting the army and the empire to grow. Let's fast forward. So it went on like that till the civilization time. So from the Roman Empire, it came to the British or United Kingdom era during the World War. So during the Roman Empire or during the Roman era, all revenue received by the Roman Empire, including the cost of the military operation, were collected from the people who live in territories which had been occupied by Romans. So all the food, the cost, everything that was collected by the people who were living on their territory. So that is how the idea originally started, not in the form of money that we see now, but as a way of supporting the leaders to give or resource the army, so the army will also protect them. That is how it started. So it went on to the civilization time, when during the World War, United Kingdom and France, they were fighting, and it got to a point that the war becomes so hard that France nearly conquered United Kingdom, UK, but UK needed money to buy a lot of sophisticated guns and other things so that they can win the war against France. So in 1798, I was there. Where we were not there. 1798. Something happened in United Kingdom. By then, there was nothing like taxes. What happened was that they needed money to buy goods. So the UK, there was called William Pitt, the then finance minister, who was called William Pitt, went to their parliament. So he was the architect of the first taxation bill in UK history. So William Pitt, the prime minister, went to parliament, and they were saying that how can the government raise revenue to get money to buy guns and other things without necessarily or without massive borrowing? They didn't want to go to any country to borrow, UK, but they want to also get money to buy guns and other things for other countries too, so that they can win the war against France. Then they started thinking of how can we. So the idea was that, okay, let's tell the citizens that this is the situation. If we don't take care, France will overpower us and they will take us as their slaves. And that's going to be dangerous for UK to be subjected to. So they told the citizens in UK, this is a civilization time, not the Roman Empire. The UK era, that by then money was in circulation, people were working, receiving salary, and enough food stuff. But here it was civilization. So they told the people, UK citizens, that okay, we want to win this fight, but the government doesn't want to borrow. So the one way we can win this fight is to raise revenue to buy guns and that, but the government doesn't want to borrow, so that we say that we have borrowed, we are owing, our debt is it. So what if everybody, so look at if everybody is giving maybe £10 or £100 per month willingly, we can use that to buy the guns. And when they suggested this one, we are paid, so that the whole country there, that is good. If we are going to give something as small from ourselves to give to the government, so that they use it to buy guns and other sophisticated equipment, so that they can win the fight, then fair be it. Then the people bought into the idea and they passed it. It became a law. So it became a law, and they started using it. So the people started giving willingly with the aim of winning the fight. So you see, that is how the idea originally started. It was war. From Roman Empire, people were fighting. They needed food to feed the army. People bring foodstuff to the palace. They give to the army to protect them. Then it went on to the civilization time. When we started using money, then there was World War, First World War, Second World War. During that time, even nations that were enlightened, they needed money to win the war. They didn't want to borrow. They tell citizens that let us raise money. Everybody should give us this amount every month from your income to the government. We have money. If everybody bring £100, the government will get millions of money, and everybody agreed, and they did it. So that is initially how the idea of citizens giving to government for worldwide cause started. So income tax was disconnected in 1802 by Pitt's successor, that's the Prime Minister Addington. What happened was that look at 1798, that they introduced the finance bill. So here they made it a bill, finance bill, that everybody should pay a certain amount of their income to the UK government, so that they can use it to win the war against France. So it went on, and they agreed. So it went on. So in 1802, the World War was over. So when the World War was over, they were still collecting that amount that they were getting every month. But the William Pitt successor, the Prime Minister, the one who succeeded William Pitt, that's Addington, when he came, he cancelled. In 1802, he just abolished. So the war is over. So why do we still collect money from the citizens? Because the idea is that the bill was to get money to win the war. Now there's no World War has ended. But you as a government, they were so concerned. When the finance minister, he cancelled it. And look at what happened here. The law said, I didn't think cancel it, or he discontinued in 1802. That income tax, he discontinued in 1802 by their predecessor Addington. Although Addington was forced by circumstance to reintroduce it in 1803. That's 1 year crime, 1 year paper. So you see, when he came, immediately he abolished the income tax. Nobody should pay income, tax on their income. But the war is over. Everybody, what you can eat. I realized that within 1 year, government was not getting anything. So everything, the money that government was is small, and they couldn't use to develop UK. Then they say, hey, I said it, but let's bring it back. He was forced based on circumstances, because he saw that taxation is the main source of revenue to every government. So they had to introduce in 1803. So that is how taxation. Let's fast forward to Ghana. Now Ghana is where we are interested, but the history started from Roman Empire down to British era war against, but they are all war, and how people were willing to contribute to support the worldwide cause of the government. That is how taxation started gradually, and now where we are now. Are you with me? Are you listening to me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Today is history, so I just want you to understand the tax you are paying, why it's with that, and the processes that it has gone through. So just sit down and enjoy the history. We will do the calculations as the time comes. Now let's look at taxation in Ghana. How did Ghana also start? Now, in Ghana here, the first form, the taxation in Ghana started in the form of what you call custom duty in 1850. So Ghana here, we have first form of taxation in Ghana, 1850. Then look at the times 1798 that UK they started paying income tax. We Ghana were not having anything like tax. So it is when they came to colonize us that they brought the tax system to Ghana economy. Yes, we didn't know anything about tax. But even with that, the first form of taxation in Ghana here was custom duty. They didn't start tax as income tax as we are seeing it. No. In 1850, that's the first form of tax in Ghana. It was custom duty. That is, only those who were rich and were importing goods from outside Ghana, by then, they were the only people who were paying tax. But if you were working like teacher, nurse, everything, no. All the salary you pay to them, there was nobody paid tax to government then. Only those who imported goods. So it was the tax in Ghana to government was only in the form of custom duty. There was nothing like income tax. There was no other tax apart from the custom duty. So that way, right, with the custom duty, it was levied on what we call imported goods at the rate of 0.5% ad valorem. That's 0.5% of the value of the goods. That's what we call it, 0.5% ad valorem. So this is the first form of taxation in Ghana, custom duty. See, now the first form of taxation, the earliest form of taxation collected in Ghana, then Gold Coast, was collected in Cape Coast here. Cape Coast, where I am now, that's where the earliest form of taxation was, because the seat of government, don't forget, Cape Coast used to be the seat of government, the capital town of Ghana, Gold Coast then. So our principal officers, those who were representing Queen Elizabeth and the rest, like our colonial masters, they were living in Cape Coast Castle. So the first form of taxation in Ghana was collected in Cape Coast in the form of custom duty. So that was the first form, custom duty. That's the first form of taxation, 1850. Now, the British people realized that Ghana, there are a lot of people in Ghana, but only few people were paying tax because a lot of people were not importing money or goods from outside Ghana. So the British government was not getting enough money to develop the country. So they sat down. So by then they were our masters. We have been colonized. They have come to colonize us. So they wanted more money to top, more money to increase the salary of their white people. Because when they colonized us, there were some white people who came from UK and stayed in Ghana to administer. They were just like representing the Queen here. Because we were slaves. They were doing everything. But those whites who were here, they had to be paid. And they needed more money to pay them. So do you know what they did? In 1852, Ghana, this is our Ghana. So don't forget that 1850, they had introduced the custom duty. But when they collected for 2 years, they saw that only few people in Ghana were paying the tax in the form of custom. The majority, or 90%, were not importing goods. So the government needed another means by which they can get more money into the tax net. So in 1852, something remarkable happened in Ghana here. They call all the chiefs, they introduced what we call poll tax. Poll tax was introduced in Gold Coast in 1852. Poll tax means what is lampu? Have you heard of something like lampu? They say something like lampu. Have you heard a story?
Yes.
That is what we call poll tax. This term brought a lot of issues. Let me give you why it became a war between Ghanaians and the British people with respect to lampu. That's called poll tax. But Ghana for now kind of lampu, but the writer is poll tax. Now the poll tax was introduced in 1852 because the British government then needed more money to finance the activity, but because the only form of taxation was custom duty, they were not getting any money. So they called the meaning of poll tax is that every man, woman, or child residing in the district under the British protection, you see, was to pay 1 shilling per head per year. So let me say that during this time, Ghana, we were not having the cedi. Ghana used to, pound sterling was our currency. Don't forget, during all this, we were using the pound sterling, not the cedi. So let's assume that in the present day Ghana, the meaning of postal tax, every man, so whether you're a man, woman, or a child, even we're supposed to pay, let's say, 100 Ghana cedis per head per year, something like that, fixed, no discrimination. So when we come to this household, you are a father, you have a wife, and you have 5 children. Even if you are a baby who has been given birth to today, he's a human being, he has to pay the 100 cedis. So it's also harsh. That's the meaning of poll tax. Every man, woman, or child who is not working is supposed to pay the same amount, 1 shilling per head per year. So when they come to the house, a father, mother, and 5 children, you are 7. You have to pay 700 straight to everybody, whether you are working or not. So, and before they introduce this poll tax, this is what they did. They assemble all the chiefs, eminent chiefs in Ghana to the Cape Coast Castle. And you see, then time, people that the Ghanaian citizens they respected most were 2 chiefs in Ghana and teachers. If we were a teacher then, the way the community, everybody, we were the people that they hail more, teacher and chief. So the chiefs were highly respected because, and whatever the chiefs say, the community become fine. People do it. So the 5 people also found that yes, it's true. So they assembled all the chiefs into Cape Coast, eminent chiefs in Ghana. They brought them and told them that we want to develop Ghana. They tricked our chiefs. This is what they tricked them. They wanted to develop Ghana like UK. They want Ghana to be like UK and the rest. They want Ghana to be like, they want to build schools, road, hospital. They want to do a lot of things so that Ghana can become like UK. But if they can do that, they want everybody to pay some amount. And that's why, so the chiefs should go and inform the subject, the people of Ghana, that now they are going to pay a tax. That's called poll tax, no income. So poll tax means every man, woman, or a child, at the end of the year, 1 year, everybody is supposed to pay some amount, fixed amount. So when the chiefs also, they thought, oh, it's a good thing. They're coming to construct schools, road, hospital. Why? This is a good idea. And the chief, they convinced us Ghanaians. And we started paying. So they paid first year, so up to some time. But they said they have been paying this port at Lampu. But the chiefs thought that the roads, schools, communities, that hospital that they promised them, they have decided. Now they were not doing that. Not knowing that they were collecting the money to increase salaries of the white people in the castle who were working. So they deceived our chiefs. So when our chiefs and the people of Ghana saw that, we have been deceived. These people have made us to collect this money. We are paying. It's painful to pay. Even the child who is not working, they clear away in our still. The promises that then they started resisting. That's where the issue came Lampu by. So Lampu, then the British people were using force that you will pay. And they said, we will not pay. So it became like, when you see that, and they had some tax collectors that they come, due to what Lampu for them, you have to fight. You have to run away, enter bush. So that's what became the order of the day. People have to run just because they don't want to pay the poll tax. So it became a war. Sometimes they use force to compel people to pay. So Lampu there, a big issue, and that was tax. Government said that you pay. Citizens say no, you will not pay. Because why you say we should pay for, we are not doing that. That is it. So, and also every year fight, the Ghanaian, it fails. So the British people said that no, poll tax cannot work because the people are now resistant. So they have to find another means. So that is when they abolished the poll tax. Then they introduced, so in 1943, they introduced what we call income tax. So income tax, it is with you today, was first introduced in Ghana, then Gold Coast in 1943. So they abolished the custom duty, they abolished the poll tax, and they said, okay, now they want to introduce income tax. This one, you are going to pay a tax based on your income, those who are working. So if you don't work, if you are not doing government work, you don't pay any tax. But those who are working, so that one makes sense. So it means that teachers, lawyers, doctors, those who are working, like your pay, we take something small after it to do, and that one it makes sense. So that's when income tax started, and it's with us up to now. Now, the first income tax that was introduced in Ghana here was introduced by the income tax ordinance. That time we were not having the act. Like now we have income tax act, ACT, at 25 or 27. No, we were using what we call ordinance. So income tax ordinance number 27 was the act. If today we say the act that established the income tax. So take note of that. Because this course, if you write quiz and exams, and normally the quiz are multiple choice from the slide. There are a lot of multiple choice. So some of these things can come. Maybe the income tax ordinance number 27, 1943. That is let's say the act or the ordinance that enacted income tax in Ghana first. But this act or this ordinance number 27 was modeled to a very large extent on the general principles adopted in the Income Tax Act, then in force in United Kingdom. So most of our tax laws, the income tax we are practicing today, majority of the laws were enacted alongside with UK tax laws until sharp, because they were practicing income tax long time before they even came to colonize us. So when they started, okay, now we want to bring income tax in Ghana, they just adopted their system in UK. So by then, most of the tax laws were modeled along that of the UK, United Kingdom. It was recently that when we got independent from 1960 that we started doing amendments. But even though we have amended a lot of things to suit our local context, there are majority of the tax laws which is the same as what is practiced in United Kingdom currently. So that is by way of what history. Let me ask question. Let me pause. Maybe somebody want to ask a question. You can go ahead. How are we enjoying the history small? Are you there?
Yes.
Yes.
Do you want to ask question? Somebody want to ask question? If you want to ask question, you can ask question before I continue. Is there any question?
No, for now.
Okay. I hope the rest are all hearing me, because as I hear only one voice, the rest you are all hearing me loud and clear, right?
Yeah, we are there.
Yes, please.
I want
Yes, sir.
to hear voices. Because when we come to a calculation, you can't be quiet like this. Calculating. Okay, anyway. So now that is a bit of history for you. Now let's move on. So the income tax order number 27, that is with us now, which now we have changed. It's no more order by act. It was modeled along the tax laws in United Kingdom. And it adapted what we technically call source jurisdiction. So this is one of the principles in the tax law, which is still current as of 2026. This source jurisdiction, which was in the ordinance number 27, is still valid and we are using it. What is it in translation? When I talk of source jurisdiction, what do you mean? Now, source jurisdiction means that in taxation, that it is that when I talk of source jurisdiction, that is, it imposes or taxation. Taxation imposes the tax. Tax is imposed generally on income having its source in Ghana, so that foreign sources of income was not liable until remitted to Ghana. So when you talk of source jurisdiction, this principle talks about that incomes are normally taxed at the country where the income is generated. So it means that we always look at the source of the income. So that is the reason why if you are a Ghanaian and you go to UK, those Ghanaian workers who are living in UK or US or whatever other country, and you are working there, you get income. The footballers, they get income, huge sums of money. But the source of that income is in UK. And therefore, the law is that the source. Why the source? The source is in UK. So the UK government have the power and the right to tax the income. So they have to tax the income. They paid income tax to UK government. But Ghana government cannot say that maybe my case or maybe you could do so what you are a Ghanaian and we see that you are getting more money in UK. So every month pay tax on your income. We can't do that in taxation because of the source jurisdiction principle. Income cannot be taxed in a country where the source is there unless that money is remitted to that country. So let's assume that Ghanaian footballer is in UK playing football, and every month he gets a lot of money. He paid a tax on it to the UK government. The net is with him. He can stay in UK, spend everything without break. Nobody can question him. Ghana government cannot say you are a citizen, you are Ghanaian, so you have money. No, you can't. But once you bring part of the money, if you bring the money, that foreign income, then you are going to separate tax on it. And that's where the double taxation will come in. Double taxation. One income that is subject to tax twice. So let's assume that you have paid tax on it in UK and bring the net of the money to Ghana, you also pay tax on it. So that is source jurisdiction. The same thing, there are some foreign nationals, when you go to India and China, there are a lot of foreign companies or foreign people, the mall that you see, Accra Mall and the rest of right, they are all foreigners who own them. Now, when they also do business, like the Chinese and Melcom and the rest, when you are doing business in Ghana, because the source of your business, your revenue is generated in Ghana here, Ghana government has the power to do the pay tax to Ghana government. But it's not China, or you can say that your government, your president is just whatever, how you come and do business here, and you get the money, then you take it to your hometown or home country for them to. No, it's not done. That's one thing that you need to understand about taxation. And when we start working, some of these things go inform our calculations. Now, the income tax that we introduced here, don't forget that from 1943.
Hello, sir.
Yes.
So in this case, can we say that the e-levy, which was charged on maybe government workers, will be a double taxation?
So e-levy technically is not double taxation, but it is multiple taxation kind of. That is, you see the income that the government is paying to you, you pay income tax on it. So the e-levy is not double tax, but the government is taxing you for the service that it is providing you. So you see, you pay tax on your salary. Let's assume that you see 20,000 and you pay tax of, let's say, 2,000. So they pay 18,000 to you as net. You have paid tax on it. But that income You want to go and give 3,000 to your maybe mother who is in the village. Now, in the olden days, when the government had not provided a platform, the system that you have to sometimes go to a station, look for somebody. Me come home town, or command the station, they are sharing with you. Do they are sharing all the amount. Sometimes risky nature, they don't even go and give the exact amount. They don't give the money to them. That even the mother doesn't have phone. So that's a whole lot of issues. But now the government has made a thing in such a way that there's a platform, say e-levy. You sit in your room, send it, and you pay something out of the service that you are being, but not you are not being taxed on your income. You are paying income tax already. So that cannot, it doesn't normally fall under double taxation because it's the same country. But double taxation is where somebody's income has been taxed in another country and he bring the money into then it had to go to Ghana tax service. In that case, it's a double taxation. Madam, you get it?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. So that is when you get to double taxation, you will see the principles. So that is that. Now the income tax that was also introduced in 1943. You got to your point. The British government found out that even though we have introduced the income tax, still people are working, but we don't see them anymore. You know what? The income tax that they introduced, they brought a lot of host of allowances. We call them generously a multitude of personal reliefs and host of allowance. They were giving divorce if your wife and divorce were allowance. If even you are a wife or you have been divorced, they will give worker allowance for children education, allowance up to 5. They give a whole lot of allowances, thinking that only few people buy. What for almost all Ghanaian workers were earning all the allowances. So he's not having a child, but he just take his sister's children as their child or children. Some are not married. Boy said no one is sister, say any wife. So Ghanaians are so smart that everything that we do, they look for the weekend. They got to a point almost all Ghanaian player was having all the allowances at present. And that was one thing that was so, even though they have income, they will deduct a lot of allowances from it, and it becomes more for them to calculate a tax on. That was also a headache. So to avoid some of this thing, they introduced some fixed amount into the tax system so that everybody would pay some amount, because they realized that those who were not even married, they were using their girlfriends and their wives to register to get a relief. A lot of things went on. So they needed to find a way that everybody would pay. So you see that the income tax order number 27 was amended. They amended it slightly. As in the 358. They amended the income tax ordinance 27 slightly to include slightly to bring into the tax debt a greater number of taxpayers. By this amendment, a minimum, so you see, they put a minimum of £600 per annum for every taxpayer. When whether you are this, you have to pay that one. So that is one way that they used to solve that problem of everybody, there's a minimum tax. Once you are working, have to pay. So they introduce that one too. But another remarkable thing happened in Ghana. Which today the recommendation has not valid with that. In 1961, now look at the date, 1961, we had gained our independence. So 6 months 1957. So by 1961, we are a republic. Another significant landmark in tax administration in this country occurred in 1961. What happened? In 1961, Ghana government now have a form of and when the white left, we didn't cancel the tax because tax was the main revenue source of revenue to every government. So even though the white left, we didn't cancel the tax. It was still, income tax was still there. They're correcting it. So we got to a point in 1961, the Ghana government found out that people are paying taxes. People are working. Yeah, but still the income are not coming like how we expected it. So Ghana government invited one eminent professor who was called Professor Richard Cardo or Nicholas Cardo. Now, Professor Nicholas Cardo was invited to Ghana. He was from he's an eminent economist from Cambridge University. So he was from Cambridge University, Ghana government. They invited him to Ghana to come and study our tax system and see how we can make it work. So that's what changed everything. So the recommendation that he, Richard Ricardo, gave to Ghana government helped improve the tax system of the country. What did he do? So Richard Ricardo advised government to abolish all the personal derivations and the who's of it, to abolish all of them. And in place of that, bring what we call a tax-free amount, some amount for people, which is what? Tax-free. So you see that when he brought the idea, it works. So the government was gonna abolish all the tax system, all the reduce and introduce an amount called tax-free. So when you take our tax schedule, there's an amount of everybody's income which is not tax for tax-free amount. Every year, government, Ministry of Finance, when they read budget, they talk about tax-free. Every taxation student you know that there's a tax-free. So whenever you are doing calculation, you have to first determine or subtract tax-free from the tax component before you calculate the tax. And apart from introducing the tax-free amount, the card also introduce or talk about what we call the payee. According to him, all the employees cannot pay the same salary. So you have to use pay as you earn, payee. So it means that this is progression or progressive. The tax, as your salary increases, then your tax also increase. You pay according to your income. So your income, as your income increases, then your tax also increases. That is what we call pay as you earn. So in Ghana, as of now, because of this recommendation, we don't pay equal tax. So even you can do the same work, you are teachers, but somebody pay tax more than you or you pay less than other. Because of some of these things, we don't pay equal tax. We don't have the same reliefs. So that is one thing that you have to know, that the pay as you earn is still with us. Then you also abolish business loss deduction and introduce turnover of chargeable income of 2% for all self-employed persons, partners, and companies. So we avoid that system of turnover losses. When you get lost, then you will know. When we are doing advanced taxation, you understand some of these things. But all that you want to do is that because Acado make significant changes in our tax laws, and he brought a lot of change that are still valid. So now the pay as you earn system is there, it's still there, valid. We are using it, and the tax-free amount is there. A lot of things. So that is Professor Richard Cardo. Now, enough of history. Let's move on to the rule of taxation. Unless maybe somebody want to ask a question. Okay, then let's move on. Now let's talk about rule of taxation in Ghana. Rule of taxation in Ghana. Now, one of the main rules of taxation is to raise revenue to finance expenditure. So government uses taxation to finance their expenditure. Government have a lot of things. Building of schools, construction of roads, providing of security, a whole lot of things. And it's through taxation that government raise. The government get a lot. Look at the harbor, look at teachers, look at doctors. All government work, and the annoying that the amount is deducted as source. Let's just imagine, assuming that by mistake, all your money is paid to you, maybe your gross salary is paid to you into your account. Madam, will you go to the GRA and say, oh, I think this year, this month you made a mistake. Pay my gross to me. So please, I've come. Is that the tax on? Will you do that? If the gross is paid to us, then we have to go to the GRA to pay ourselves. Will you do that? I'm asking
Yes, sir,
questions.
I will.
Hey, you will do that.
Yes, please. If you don't do that, next time they will detect it and add it up. You pay double.
Okay. Because most people, it's like paying tight. People, you see, if you don't take care, when the money is given to you, it becomes difficult. So the government has instituted a system where the money will not be paid to you before we ask you to come and pay. You are paying the thing as source. We will deduct it even before we bring the money to you. So the role of taxation is to help government to raise revenue to finance its expenditure, to reduce inequalities arising from the redistribution of wealth. That's redistribution of income. How does taxation help to redistribute income or break the inequality? Now, the meaning of this, the second one, this one is that one of the function or rule of taxation is to reduce inequalities or redistribution of what? Income. You see, in the economy, some are rich than others. Even in workplace, a lot of people receive high salary than others. Some people are so rich and other people are so poor. So it is through taxation that the government is able to break that kind of gap. So government collects from the rich people, government collects from the rich people a lot. Not only that, the poor also pay taxation. Everybody pay, but only that some people pay more than the other. And when the money that have been collected from the citizens, it now becomes Ghana money. And it can use it for this one, everything. So it is through taxation that the government collects money into the consolidated fund and use it to develop the economy. So I don't be taxation. There are some services and other things people in some remote areas will not see. But what the government use the money received from taxes to redistribute, to build social amenities, to do school, hospital, other things, first class rule in community, so that everybody will benefit. And that's what I mean by the rule of taxation. Government collects more from the rich to help develop the less privileged communities. Government also use taxation to restrain certain types of consumption. Example, alcoholic and beverages and tobacco. So if there's a commodity that the government doesn't want people to spend, all you need is that increase the tax on it. Yes, when the tax is very high, it will make the cost of the product very high. So cigarette is, but yes, it's not that people are going to just stop. No matter how expensive it is, you get people who will buy. But the rate at which people will buy will reduce. So you see that government use taxation to restrain people from being taxation. Then it's also government use taxation to protect the indigenous industries. Now, through taxation have benefits too. It's not like always tax is bad, it's good. Through taxation, government is always to protect the indigenous, the local industries. What that they do is that sometimes there are some local companies. Let me take rice for instance. We have some companies that produce rice, local rice, transforming very nice. But Ghanaians say they don't want, they will not buy it. They will go and buy the foreign ones, the foreign akoko, nama, Brazil chicken that have been in fridge for 5 years, and that is what we want. Other people have like you see that as a movie a chicken stick, and now we taste beer and because the chicken has been there for 5 years. When they were about Africa, or Fadampum, you know that kind of thing. And now we meet as a Ghanaians, that's what they want. Because meanwhile we have original chicken, live one poultry, they will not buy that one. They will not buy the rice, Ghana rice. So what that government has to do that they have to increase the import duties, make the goods that they import from outside so expensive. So if let's assume that there's a Ghana company here producing rice, they transform the rice, nice one, rice factory in Ghana. When they produce the 5 kg of rice, they are selling the 5 kg in Ghana here. 5 kg of rice, they sell 50 Ghana cedis. 50. Then, as a government, we want to protect this local, but those that are importing, when they import, increase the import duty so that the price will affect their price. So maybe the Uncle Sam or whatever rice you are buying from outside, the perfume rice, it costs around 50 cedis. Now, a rational person will say, into a mobile make top 5 kg, there 150. But this 150 can buy the local one, the one I look at, can buy 3. The same quantity, but can buy 3 here. Today in church, we got only 1, which can buy 3. People will start making that analysis. And now they will straight to the local industry and be buying from the Ghana market, which will boost the local industry to also grow. So these are some of the rules of taxation. It's also you control the aspect of the country's economy, like a BOP, balance of payment. Then it's also used to check inflation. So these are some of the rules of taxation in an economy. So tax is good. Taxation is good because the government used to do a lot of that. When you look at how it is administered, how Ghana we do our tax system, that's very bad. When you go to developed country, tax is the main source of, and they are using to develop their country. But when it comes to our part of the world, greed. Our leaders are not helping us. They collect the there are so much money that go into a consolidated fund, but they misuse it. When you look at the public accounts committee and you sit down and hear some story how people are spending money, say yes. Sometimes it's a whole lot of things. So taxation is good. That if you administer it well, it will help the country. So the implication for business, the implication that when taxes are introduced, economic activity will reduce because people cannot buy goods at high prices. They don't have money to buy, and therefore it will affect the prices. So when taxation is introduced or tax is imposed on goods or services, the consumer or the person who is consumer product will decline because they have increased the price, profit will be affected, so shareholders also will not get what is due. A whole lot of things. So tax has implication on business activities. Do you have a question before we go to the canons or principle of taxation? Okay, I can move on. Should I move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now let's look at principle. There are 4 principles of taxation that Adam Smith. I know you know Adam Smith in your either economics class or so. Adam Smith. There are four canons. Canons of when we talk of canons of taxation, we are talking about what we call principles. So if you don't see principle, you can be asked to talk about principle or canons of taxation. Principles or canons of taxations. Now, principle number one, let's go straight. Principle of equity. Equity. Now, one principle in taxation is principle of equity. And let me ask this question. Is there any difference between equity and fairness? How different or similar? I want you to talk. Is there any difference between equity and fairness, or is the same? Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
So tell me. I'm asking, think about it. Is equity the same as fairness, or it's not the same? Equity, fairness. I want answers.
So it's almost the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's almost the same, or it's the same.
It's almost the same.
Yeah,
Almost.
Yeah, for me, they are not.
I believe it's not the same.
If it's not the same, let us tell me the difference.
Well, I think I can use example to differentiate. For instance, when it comes to equality, payment of tax based on equality, it means that the rich and poor must pay the same amount. But when it comes to equity, the rich get more money, and therefore, based on the same rate, I think they are likely to pay more than the poor. So that equity comes in there. The rich pay more than the poor, so it's equity. But when it comes to equality, the rich and the poor must pay the same amount of tax.
Okay. I hear. Yes. Any other?
Yeah. Please, can you hear me?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Yes, I think they are not the same in the sense that for equity, it means that the rich and the poor are treated the same. Are you there, please?
Yeah.
But in terms of fairness, it means that if you are rich, you have to pay more than the poor. That is to my understanding. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Good. Is there any other person who wants to say last thing? Equity and fairness. How different or similar are they? Okay. So in taxation with yes.
I that my letter, yeah, I would say fairness, like you are treating people equally. You are treating everyone the same. And I would say the equity is you are treating people based on what they need.
Yes.
That's my letter.
Okay. So let me draw something here. Look at this one. I'm using this image or scenario to explain. See, let's assume that this is a wall. There's a wall here. Wall like a building, fence wall. And the height is up to this fence. Now there's a film show. They have shown a movie behind this wall. Now there are three people. They want to watch this movie, but they have to go. Their head has to go above this before they can see. Now the three friends, one is relatively short. Relatively was short. If I talk of short, the person whose name has come to you, I've not mentioned anybody's name, by somebody's name. Right now you talk of short person in Ghana. So let the name be in your head. Don't mention. I don't want to hear anything. You hear me? There's somebody People, when my cousin and I talking about president to be the, he's not short. So somebody is short, relatively short, and another person is also a bit short, but is shorter than this one. So this is the second person. Then there's a third person who is also relatively tall. This person. These are three people. Now, all these people want to watch this movie, but equity will require that let's give everybody something to stand on. Maybe a three blocks. If you put block, one block, two blocks, and they stand on it, they can see. So we give everybody three. So that is the equity. Equality, three blocks. You give it three. Now the three blocks, one, this my friends pack it and stood on the three blocks. Still, the head is here. You couldn't see. But second person, when he put the 1, 2, 3 blocks and stood on it, his head is here. He's able to see the movie small, though he's not clear, but he can see. The head is just on the borderline, so he can see small. This gentleman here, long person here, the long person here, packed the 3 blocks, stood on it, and he's just even over. So you see that equity demand, something can be what? Equitable, but not necessarily what? Fair. So in this situation, you see that, yes, equity demand that but are we fair to this man? He have given 3, but still with the 3, and he's still on it, he cannot reach anywhere. This one is still on the 3. So you have to always know that in taxation, equity is not necessarily as fair. So something can be equitable, equal, you can treat equal, but not fair. So principle of equity requires that, according to this principle, every person should pay to the government depending upon his ability to pay. So the equity, kind of equity, some people call it ability to pay principle. Is that the rich class people should pay higher taxes to the government, because without the do you know that when you talk of economy, in the economy, government spend more on rich person than poor person? Do you know that government spend more on the rich people than the poor people? Do you understand, or do you know that? Do you agree or you don't agree? Government spend more on rich persons or rich people than poor people. Do you agree to that statement or you don't agree? If you don't agree, I can prove. I'll give you 2 instances that shows that government spend more on poor people, on rich people than poor. And that's the reason why in an economy, those who are rich have to pay more. They have pay as you earn. Yes.
So how?
You say how?
I'm saying how
Okay,
does the
prove it for me.
government spend more on rich people than poor? Yeah.
I'll prove it for you. I'm coming to prove it, and you know that. And that's the reason why we had to pay as you earn, because a minister is receiving 30,000 a month. That's 200 million every month. A teacher is receiving, let's say, 5,000 a month. 5,000 a month. And you expect us to all pay, let's say, 10% tax. No, if you pay 10% of this, you are going to pay, let's say, 3,000. 10% of this, I'm going to pay 500 anyway. But still, in terms of this, we are paying the same. Only that, so the pay as you earn will make sure that we have its progression. The rates of tax are there. If my money can go through only 2 steps, that's it. But your money can go through all the 5 steps. There you go. So yes, government pay more or spend more in the economy than the rich people, or the rich people than the poor people. And therefore, that's why rich people pay more taxes to government than. First, number one, proving the reason why government spend more on the rich. You see that when we take the economy, it is because of the rich people that government spend money on policing, defense, and the rest. Some people become so rich that they have houses, properties, and other things. So if the government does not provide security, patrol, police visibility, people become rich and they can't even sleep. They can't have peace of mind to sleep because of their richness. The government now train people, police, to make sure that the community is safe, so that the rich people can sleep and their investment and their properties can be protected. Like when we go to some villages that we are poor, they are not anything. When they are sleeping, they don't even close their doors. And robbers and the thief, they don't go there because they know that when we go, what are you coming to take? Unless you take us as human beings, there's nothing there. We are just there. We wake up, we go to our farm, read our cocoa, we come, we eat, we see. That is the life. So our robbers, and you don't hear them going there. The social by stealing is so government. If that the economy is like that, too, the government wouldn't want itself providing security, defense, but because of the rich people are rich. They have money. They know that when they know that when we go to this, we get money. They don't just go to any place. They go to where they will know that we get something. So the robbery and that thing happen in people who are rich, and that is it. So government also know that, and they have to provide security. So if you are rich people, because government want to protect your properties, your money, yourself, so that your cars you can use them and sleep, and your investment will be protected. That is where the government also policing and all these different. As a result of the rich people benefit more from some of these things than we the poor people. That's one way that government spend more on the rich people than the poor. Let me give you another one. Some people in the economy are so rich that they have sophisticated cars, machines that put pressure on the government to build good roads, fair-class roads, to enable them use their cars. I'm talking about despite and the road. Look at the cars you see. They are the road that you have to build so that people can use the cars and other things. It is the rich people. So because of some of these things, government have to construct road, capital intensive, so that people can use their cars on the bike car. We the poor people, we use our bicycle and these motors. The road here, the first class anywhere here. But because of the rich people who have cars and other things, government have to spend much in the economy to make sure that they provide roads that will not spoil their car. And the thing is, if I'm doing all this, then pay more than the poor people. Because the poor, they don't have any. So it's like you are staying in a room or a house where you use only bulb in your room. And some people are using fridge, a kettle, a microwave, a whole lot of the gadgets in the room. And when the light bill comes, they say we are all in the same house. So let's share it equally. So that how will you feel? We see that it will be painful. That now my bulb pen, I mean TV, only bulb, iron crab and tomato. You have only one bulb. Why other rooms they have fridge, AC 24/7, microwave, TV, iron, kettle, they have almost everything and they use everything. So when the bill came, compound house, the bill is 5,000. You use only one bulb. But they said we are all 5 in the room. So let's divide by 5 and everybody is paying 1,000. Then they collect 1,000 for you, 1,000 from everybody. Then they go and pay the 5,000. Then the light is on. But you are having only one bulb. The rest they have everything. How will you feel? It will be so painful. That is how tax are. Some people are rich. They have things. So the roads, the policing, the peace that the government have to keep in the economic society, so that police possibility and the police government pay them, all because the rich people can sleep and enjoy their riches. Last one before I continue. Even now, because of the rich people, government have to buy sophisticated machines, equipment in hospital to take care of certain ailments. Now you hear some diseases that you hear first, TB, dialysis, and then cancer of the day. All these things because of our eating habits and certain kind of things the rich people do. In the olden days, when we were when you go to the villages where rich people are, we go to farm, we take our control milk, okra, we eat. Sometimes when you go to some villages, there are no hospital. Sometimes I ask, hey, nothing or work will be an answer, will be an answer. They live healthy life. You don't hear this kind of strange diseases because they are eating natural things. No GMOs, no additive and nothing. Rare green food. They don't force it. They're always active. They go like they don't have hospitals in the farms, but they are living healthy, like always strong. But those of us who have money, you are doing egg and this tomorrow, indomie, this and like, oh, we never good, a whole lot of things. So cholesterol broke the system. Today you have high pressure, blood pressure. Today this and the kidney is overworking because you are eating a lot of drink, will come a whole lot of messing, a whole lot of and chemicals. And then look at the spices that you use. They are all chemicals. You know this some cover the flavor. All these things contribute to our in-health. And the government have to now buy machines, ICU, this thing, so that the dialysis that they have to always. That is huge investment. So yes, because of the rich people, sometimes our living style and everything make government spend more in the economy than the poor people. Are you convinced now that yes, indeed, government spend more on the rich than the poor?
Okay, yes, I'll take it like that. But
you don't.
Looking at
It's debatable. It's debatable. Oh, feel free. Let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Looking at what talk.
Yes, looking at the revenue that the government pay, it takes most of them to the rural areas for the development, so that the lifestyle of the privileged ones will be also up to standard.
Good.
So when you look at so when you look at the
income,
the money, yes.
So when you look at what the money, that be the government is spending more on the rich and the poor.
Yes.
On the
more,
poor than
yes.
Okay, but let's look at this way.
Because
I'm listening.
So you cited an example as the police. The government has to train more personnel so that they will protect the rich. But in the other sense too, these people are also trained so that the poor can also have equal judgments. Because they also protect them so that they will not be bullied by the rich.
So that they will not be bullied by what? The rich.
By the rich, yes.
So you see, it's because of the rich people having the tendency of bullying them. That's why the government has to bring the police to bring that peace there. So still it's connected to the rich. If we are all poor, then they will not be bullying. You get it? Anyway, it is also right. But the thing is, when you look at twins on the scale, how many the communities, you see, the tax that we collect into a consolidated fund. Yes, we are supposed to use to develop the communities, but there are a lot of communities that are very poor. There are so many social, as of now that we are talking about, there are some villages and other, go to our schools and see, students are living under trees and the rest. The government or our leaders they fail us in terms of administration of what? Taxes that we collect. We collect the taxes and they misappropriate it. Look at, you just do auditing of projects in bush. Government affordable housing agreement project. Affordable housing. Look at the markets that they start. Look at hospitals that they are almost near completion. Look at schools that these are the taxpayers' money. they are in the bush because of politics and bad leadership. So yes, I understand your point that yes, government collect into the consolidated fund, but you see sometimes the money that we use in developing the local, sometimes some from import duties and the rest. Not necessarily, but we also accept it like that. But the principle of equity is the ability to pay. People should pay tax based on their ability. So the rich will continue to pay more. So government take more from the rich to help develop the economy so that the rich and the poor, they will all enjoy. So when we build a hospital, when we take the hospital, first class hospital, and there are some people who are not, the poor person, they don't even pay tax. But when you are sick and you are taking we can't say that you are not a taxpayer, so you cannot access this person. Once the government collect the tax and go into a consolidation, it becomes government money, our own money. Yeah, somebody want to ask a question or make a contribution. Go ahead. Who want to say something? I thought I heard a sound that somebody. Okay, no problem. So, madam, I understand your point too, but the principle of kind of equity, the main issue here is ability to pay. The principle is that people should be allowed to pay tax depending on their ability. So, pay as you earn. We cannot all pay the same amount of tax because without the protection of the government authorities, police defense, those rich people could not have earned and enjoy their income. So, to the large extent, they need to pay more to help government to continue to provide security that they can enjoy their rent. That is the ability to pay principle or equity. The second principle or kind of taxation is principle of certainty. This principle talks about the fact that the tax we are going to collect, both the taxpayer and the government, they should be certain about the tax. So the taxpayer should be certain, he should know that at the end of every month, I'm paying 100 cedis of my income as tax. It's certainty. It shouldn't be like this month when the salary came, the government they had deducted 100 cedis for my as tax. The next month it came, they deducted 200 Ghana cedis. The third month they deducted only 50 cedis. The fourth month maybe they deducted 100. No, tax shouldn't be that. One of the principle in taxation is that the tax should be certain, but the taxpayer should know how much he or she is going to pay at the end of the month from his salary. That is principle of certainty. And if there is a principle, then the government, from the government point of view to certainty, the government should also be certain to know that I have 1,000 people who are workers who have to pay tax, and this is the tax rate. So we can calculate in advance and know that this is how much we are. And that is how, when we are reading budget, they're able to talk about total revenue that the government is expected to receive because of certainty, because we know that these are a number of people who are in the workforce. This is how much we generate a year from Harbour. So we become certain that after these taxes, we will get this and this and that. So that is the principle of what? Certainty. Principle of certainty. And the tax payment and the taxpayer and the government, they should be certain about the taxes that are being collected. The taxpayer should know how much tax he or she is supposed to pay at the end of the month. It shouldn't be fluctuating. That's the meaning. Then the principle number 3 is principle of convenience. Convenient. This principle talks about the fact that taxpayers should be made to pay the taxes when they will be in the convenient position to pay. So don't let the payment of tax inconvenience the taxpayer. So the timing of the tax is very, very important. That's why in Ghana, tax are best paid at the end of the month, but not at the beginning or the middle. So yes, we know that you pay tax. Then maybe 2 weeks into the month, at the middle, at the end. Hello. Yes.
I couldn't hear. I couldn't hear, so that's where I was.
Oh, okay. Which one? But did you hear the previous one before this?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So now we are on the third one, that's convenient. And we are saying that the principle of convenience talk about the fact that the tax payment of tax should not inconvenience the taxpayer. Don't let the taxpayer suffer when it comes to the payment of tax. Let the taxpayer pay the tax at a point when he or she will be in a position to pay. Convenient. Don't let the person pay tax at an inconvenient time. And that's why, for example, land revenue and other things should be collected when it is time to harvest. So if I am supposed to pay tax on some crops I'm planting, as soon as I plant the tomatoes or whatever, you don't say that I have to pay tax on the raw on the things I'm planting. You have to wait. When I start harvesting the fruit, that's when I'll be in the position to pay tax. That is the convenient. Like workers, government workers, we pay salary at the end of the month. So you don't have to tell the taxpayer, yeah, I know that you have to pay tax. So at the beginning of the month, everybody should come and pay the tax. No, the tax should be paid. So let the tax system should be convenient to the taxpayer so that people can pay the taxes at the point when they are in the position to pay. And the final one is canon or principle of economy. This principle of economy talk about the fact that the taxpayer, the tax, the system, the government should not waste money. The government shouldn't, the cost of collecting the tax shouldn't be so much that by the time we finish, government may have used half of the taxes collected to pay people who collected the tax. No, the collection of taxes should be economy, the economy. Use medium in which you will not spend much in collecting the taxes, because the taxes are revenue that government need. Just imagine that all the monies or grocery are paid to employees in Ghana. Every worker you pay, then the government hire people to go to house to collect the taxes. Just imagine how it will be. Now, tax collectors are now going to house. But you are a teacher, you know that government has paid you, bring your tax, and those people too have to be paid because they are going to house, and a number of people will be employed to collect the tax. That would be a lot of cost. But the government said no. Let's get a system, a software. So a software, the controller, they will calculate everything. So when you look at the cost of the software, which at the click of the button, all the salary workers, their tax is deducted automatically and not in the net amount that's paid into their account. Nobody go to it's a system, software. So this was the economy. The principles say that there should be economy in the administration or tax administration. The cost of tax collection should be lower than the amount of tax collected. So you don't have to spend so much. The system shouldn't be so expensive in collecting the taxes, or else it don't make sense. So that's the principle of economy. Tax collection, the system should be economy so that we can get more revenue to spend. Yeah. So these are canons of taxation that we have. Now we have types of taxes. We have direct and indirect taxes. And you have to know all of them. Direct taxes and indirect taxes. When I talk about direct taxes, they are taxes paid directly to government as a result of income earned or work. So direct taxes, for that one, we pay directly to the government. So they are levied on the person and companies, and it's borne by the person earning the income. So normally direct taxes are collected, they are those that are collected by GRA. So examples of direct taxes, we have pay as you earn, the income tax, it's direct tax, company tax, capital gain tax, gift tax, rent tax, all these are direct, you pay directly to the government. Then there are advantages and disadvantages, merits and demerits. You can read that one from any material. The slash material will be given to you later. The indirect taxes are taxes that we pay to the government, but through indirect means. We don't pay it directly, but through indirect means. So these are taxes imposed on expenditure on goods and services, and are paid only when such goods and services are bought or consumed. So the indirect taxes, normally they are on goods and services, and it's not compulsory for everybody to pay. You only pay the indirect tax when you buy the goods. So for example, somebody go and buy rice, import rice or chicken from Brazil or UK. When the goods come, the container come in Ghana, maybe imported 5,000 bags of rice, come to sell to Ghanaians. Government will say, okay, this 5,000 bags of rice, the duty on it, the tax on it is listed 1 billion. I want you to pay the 1 billion now to me. Everything, you the importer, before I allow you to take the goods inside the country to sell. But when you pay the 1 billion to me as duty, spread it over the cost of the item. If we were supposed to sell 5 kg, like 100 cities, divide, sell at 120. And by doing that, you see that you will recoup your amount that you are paid to. So the indirect taxes, the duty on it, the importer pay everything to the government at a spot. But when people start buying the products, so when you go to the store, Uncle Sam, where is 70 cities. The 70 cities that you are paying to the shopkeeper, you are paying tax of, let's say, 10 cities to the government, but you don't know. The seller has already paid on your behalf. So as he sell the item, he collects his tax. So he has paid for you. So that's indirect me. You are paid. So that is so VAT, value added tax, is indirect tax, because the VAT person, those who are selling, like when you go to Merco, you go to the shop, you buy the item, you pay. KFC, you pay. There's VAT component in it. You are not paying directly to government, but the person who is selling the item to you know that the selling price is telling you is not everything for him. To him alone, as a manufacturer or producer, his item is 100, but government is saying there's a 3% calculated and others, but so sell it at 1.3, 130. But the 30 series is not for you, it's for government. So at the end of the day, we come and see the total sales you have made. We subtract 30 series from it. It's government money. You have to pay to government. But yours is the 100. But to the person who is going buying the thing, he has bought it 130. That is how the indirect. So we have sometimes you have been paying taxes that you don't know. Anytime you buy item, even KFC, when you go and buy KFC, you collect the receipt, then you throw away. Look at the receipt. There is VAT component. Anytime you buy item, you give the receipt to you. When you go to the hotel, you book a room, you go and see. That's the price. There's VAT we are paying, value added service. So there is value added tax. VAT is a tax that we pay on all items that we buy, but we don't know that we are paying for the VAT. Though not all items cover VAT, but the majority of them that are VAT increases. So VAT, import duty, export, they are all examples of indirect tax. You pay the tax to government, but through indirect means. But it's not like the income tax that you feel it. I won't say with the word pay, you see kind of direct. Well, indirect, you don't see that. Let's talk about the last aspect of tax, then we end with it. So we have this one, we talk about the forms of tax. Let me say this form. The forms can be direct or indirect, but the types of tax we have 4. The first one we call progressive tax system. It's a tax system. These are type of tax system. We can have a called progressive tax system, and this is where it's a kind of tax system where the percentage of tax increases imposed to the increases as the person's income also increases. Thus, the higher income earners pay more than the lower income earners. So progressive. As your income increases, your tax rate also increases. That is all progressive. So today you are earning 100 cedis. The tax rate is 10%. But as soon as you go to the range of you are earning 10,000, the tax rate becomes, let's say, 30%. So that's what we call progressive. The income, as income increases, the tax rate also increases. It becomes progressive. Normally pay as well. Then we have another one called proportional tax system. For a proportional tax system, the same percentage of tax is applied to all taxpayers' income, irrespective of your size of the income. So we have some of the taxes in proportional system. We are all paying 10%. So you go and do some work and say that before we pay your salary, the work to you, amount to you, it is at 10% tax. So somebody work and got 300 cedis, they get 10% tax. Somebody work and got 1,000, you still pay 10%. Somebody get 50,000, you still also pay 10%. So that is what we call proportional. The same tax rate is applicable to different levels of income, and that is what we call proportional tax system. So you see, in terms of proportional, you are paying the same amount, but only that the same tax, but only that the amount will be different. But a person who is receiving 300 Ghana cedis and paying 10%, that's paying 30 cedis and getting 270. Or no, who's a big man? It's very big. He's paying 10% of his income. It's the same effect as somebody who's receiving 10,000 Ghana cedis and paying 10%, who is paying 1,000. Don't think that you are paying 1,000 Ghana cedis to government, so yours is bigger than the person who is paying 30 cedis. In absolute terms, you are paying the same tax because it's 10% of your income. Only that yours is big, but in terms of absolute sacrifice we are all making the same sacrifices. That is proportional tax system. Same percentage applicable to the same. Then we have what we call regressive tax system. This one in theory, but in Ghana here, this one is that reverse opposite of the progressive. A tax system where the percentage of tax decreases as the income increases. Thus, the lower income earners pay higher taxes than the higher income earners. So a system where as your income increases, your tax rates go down. But as your income decreases, when you have small income, then you pay high taxes. Why do you think will make a government increase or introduce a tax system like this, a regressive tax system in an economy? Think about it carefully. What do you think will call for or cause a government or push a government to say we are using regressive tax system where those who earn high income, they will pay less tax, and those who earn low income, they will pay small tax? Yes. What do you think can call that? Are you there?
Yes, sir.
Are you thinking about it?
Yes, we are.
So what has come to your mind? Okay, because of time, let's continue. Now, that one, let's assume that when the government want to do away with laziness in the economy, so they introduce it. For example, where we are paying based on output. If you want to increase productivity, so for people not to become lazy, let's say when we come to our factory, we are molding blocks from morning to evening. But if you mold one block, it is 50 cedis. 50 cedis. But at the end of the day, we say a caveat that if you are able to get, let's say, 100,000 or 10,000 or something, then the tax rate, the tax there is 5%. But those who get below like 2,000 or this thing, the tax rate is, let's say, 17%. So you see here, because everybody want to pay less tax, they will work hard, produce more blocks, output to be high. Because everybody want to be in this range, so that they will pay 5% on their total income. But if you are lazy and you just lazy and you will be within this bracket and you pay 17%. That is a law. So if we want to increase productivity and where people will not be lazy at work, then we introduce this one so that everybody will work hard to get to the higher income level so as not to pay much tax. And the last type of tax is flat tax. This is a type of tax system where the tax is levied equally on everyone. And the best example is the poll tax, where everybody is paying the same tax, irrespective of your status. Is the same tax for you. Apart from poll tax, can you think of any other tax which everybody pay the same amount? Yes. flat tax that everybody is paying the same. Yes. Flat tax. Are you thinking about it? Or you don't know? Go and look for one. I've given you poll tax.
What about basic rates?
What?
Basic rates.
What is basic rate?
Normally,
Basic
it's
rate.
imposed by the district assembly on government worker salary. If it's the
And
same amount for everybody.
everybody pay the same amount. Yeah.
Yes.
So think about something like now it's how you call VAT, flat rate. Now they say 3% VAT. Everybody 3%. And we have to be at 3%, so that become the same amount. So put us the same amount. Sometimes you have to look at it from that. So let's go and read around this. And these are what we wanted to do today. So that's the first part of our lesson, the history of taxation, the canons of taxation. In our next meeting,
So,
we will go to the yes.
yeah. So please, which kind of tax system are we practicing in Ghana currently?
Ghana, we are practicing the progressive, the first one, second, and the last one. We are using them. We don't use the regressive tax. We are using the progressive tax system is there. Pay as you earn. As your income increases, then the rate also increases. So as we start, when we start the employment, you see that there's a structure. If your income is 4 million, we pay 5%. The next is 10%. The next is 17.5. The rate keep increasing. I don't know whether you have seen something like that. So there's a range. So your income, you are a teacher, maybe your income is 1,000. So you go to the 5%. You can't go to the next band. That's fair. That's the task. But there are some people, their income can go to all the band from 5%, 10%, 17.5, 25 to 30%. So as your income increases, your tax rate also increases. That is the progressive. And the flat, the proportional to we use in some we use usually here. Sometimes you go and do teaching practice. We go out for maybe transport. Other one, there are some other ones when they pay 10%. 10% tax, but we pay according to category. Maybe we have all traveled. They are paying us some other one. But a professor will get, let's say, 1,000. A senior lecturer will get, let's say, 800. A lecturer will get, let's say, 500. If you are not a lecturer, you are a SRE, maybe you get 200. That is the difference amount we are paying because of the rank. But the tax is 10%. So the professor who is getting 1,000 will pay 10%. They will deduct 10%. So no 100 they better for users. They are amount 900. A senior lecturer is getting 800. They will pay the same 10% on the 800. You pay 80 then that order. So the same tax is applied to different income, and that is proportional. And the flat tax we pay in Ghana here, like a VAT, there are some components of that are flat. Everybody pay the same amount, irrespective of what your status or this. That is it. So that's what we do in Ghana here. Is that okay?
Okay, thank you.
So we will end it here for today. I know the lesson has been recorded, so it will be given to you by the monitor. So when are we meeting again? Should we make it Friday evening, 7 p.m.? Would that be okay for everybody?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So let's say Friday, I'll travel, but I will not be in Cape Coast, but I know whenever I'm going, I'll go with my laptop so that when it is 7, I know by 7 I'll be settled. By 7 I'll settle so that we will be able to do it by 7. Okay. Thank you very much for your time. So now our meeting days are Wednesday 7 p.m. and Thursday, Friday 7 p.m. every day. So course rep, so I always remind me because due to old age, I'll forget. till Wednesday morning, then we have lecture this evening. No, because I think we used to have a platform. I don't even see that platform where I was communicating. So the one we're using, so I don't know whether you can create one for translation practice so that we will be somebody's laughing when you say me, you think I'm a small boy. I am old though. I am very old and you know say I'm not small. So old, so I can be putting some information, even the slides, another thing. If I want to give the slides, where should I put under? So please create, and the old one that we use, I know that there are management students on it. So I think we can create aggregation practice 2026. I think that one, when you do that one, add me, then I can share information there. So, course, let's do that one. Thank you very much for your time. Hope to see you on Friday again. Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thank you. Sounds good.
Same to you.